Inflation for the month of April has dropped marginally. The new rate is 9.6%, down from the 10.4% recorded in March this year. This is the lowest since January 2013, and this means that even though the general price levels of goods and services were increasing, it was at a lower rate. According to the Ghana Statistical Service, the drop can be attributed to reduction in the cost of electricity, transportation, and other utilities. Odilia Ntiamwa reports.
The April 2018 inflation rate of 9.6% is the lowest since January 2013. The annual inflation rate for April 2018 was 9.6%. This means that the change in the general price level was 9.6% over the one-year period from April 2017 to April 2018. The year-on-year inflation rate for March 2018 was 10.4%.
The government statistician indicated that the drop in electricity prices up to 17% is the reason for the drop in inflation of 9.6%.
The inflation rates for the non-food group is mainly responsible for the overall fall in the inflation rates. So we realize that the inflation for the non-food group declined from 11.8% in March 2018 to 10.6% in April 2018. And we are attributing this drop as the main reason why we are seeing this drop in the overall inflation rate. But within the non-food group, we have some key price drivers. And we mentioned that transport and housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels actually are the main drivers for this fall. The transport group recorded a drop in the inflation rate by 8.9 percentage points, from 18.4% in March 2018 to 9.5% in April 2018. Then again, we have the housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels group also recording a fall of 3.4 percentage points from 7.3% in March to 3.9% in April.
The reduction of inflation, which currently stands at 9.6, compared to what was happening in March, which was more than 10%, has been attributed to electricity. But electricity may not be reduced every month. So it's very likely that, well, if other factors do not come in, this may not be sustained in the following month. But what the government statistician says is that it just puts disposable income in the hands of people that had been spending originally so much on electricity, because electricity prices had been reduced by some 17%.
Cocoa Board is to jointly construct a $60 million cocoa processing factory to be located at Sehirioso in the western region, and is doing this with the Chinese government. The factory is expected to boost Ghana's contribution of cocoa products on the world market. Karen Dodu reports.
The factory project will be partly funded by the Chinese government with a $35 million grant, while the remaining will be borne by Ghana. The factory is expected to help add value to the country's cocoa exports and enhance cocoa consumption locally. Upon completion, the factory would have a production capacity of 45,000 metric tons. This will be processed into butter, liquor, and many other cocoa products. Chief Executive of Cocoa Board, Joseph Boaheng Edu, addressed the meeting attended by the Chinese delegation.
The factory will actually run through the entire course, that from production of butter, liquor, and then the cake down to the tertiary level, that's production of chocolate. For us in Ghana, this is very significant. because we've been producing cocoa for many years, and looking at the international cocoa markets and the volatility of prices. So the acceptance of the Chinese government to partner with Ghana government to put up this factory actually is a major step in realizing our objective and our vision of expanding the scope of consumption.
Economic and Commercial Counselor at the Chinese Embassy, Chai Xinjing, added that the project will also boost China's consumption of cocoa from Ghana.
At the moment, China enjoys a surplus of trade with Ghana. Although the import from Ghana for 2017 was on an increase about 40%. So in order to help to encourage the imports from Ghana, upon the request of the Ghanaian government through a cocoa board, the Chinese government agreed to dispatch a feasibility study team to Ghana to do the research on the proposed cocoa processing factory.
A delegation from China is currently in the country to conduct a feasibility survey on the proposed site for the construction of the factory. For Joy Business, Karen Dodu.
Local pharmaceutical manufacturing company Intravenous Infusions Limited has begun the process of raising about 5.5 million Ghana cedis from the capital market through a private placement. Managing Director of the company, David Kluche, disclosed this after the company took its turn at the annual Facts Behind the Figures series at the Ghana Stock Exchange. Ebenezer Sabote has more in this report.
Recent times, the local pharmaceutical manufacturing firm has been affected negatively by the indebtedness of the National Health Insurance Authority to some major health facilities in the country. Even though it has no direct contracts with the NHIS, according to the Managing Director of Intravenous Infusions, David Kluche, the company is seeking to raise funds from the stock exchange. It also expected $5 million from the government stimulus package program to support its expansion project.
$5 million. So once we get the funding, we're able to then buy the complementary machinery that we are looking for. Then we can increase output capacity. So those are the key things that we want to do, which then enables us to go into our sister countries in terms of finished products.
With the Ministry of Trade is it a stimulus package?
That's a stimulus package, yes.
Have you applied already?
Yes, we have applied. I mean, the application was last year, February, March, I believe. Yes.
And what was the response?
Oh, they have acknowledged it, and we are waiting for them to just get back to us with their funding.
What of the 5.5 million public placements?
There's a private placement.
Sorry,
yes. The private placement, as we said, we are technically in the private placement window, which lasts from now to, I believe, till the 22nd of June. So by 22nd of June, the private placement window will be closed, and then those members who are minded to make the money available will bring the money, and then we will close the private placement.
And what specifically are you using that also for?
We're using to pay off our facility with NIB and also for working capital.
Despite the huge indebtedness by some public health facilities, he said the company is still supplying products to the market.
We don't do that. We haven't done that. And where there's a delay, we try to engage the hospital or the facility, and they might assure you that, we'll get the money and then we'll pay, and then where we are happy with it, we supply them the products. Well, I mean, the 2018, the first thing we want to do is to do the private placement, because when we get the private placement, it will help us to clear some of the balances on our balance sheet.
The company has recorded significant growth in profits since it was listed on the alternative market in 2015. Ebenezer Sabote's report for Joy Business.
We are moving on now to other news. The Ghana National Coalition on Mining is calling for a rejection of the development and tax concession agreement between Ghana and AngloGold Ashanti on the revamp of the Obuasi mines. Speaking at a press conference, the coalition said the agreement could further deepen the woes of the already struggling mine at Obuasi. The Ghana National Coalition of Mining, NACOM, has described the development and tax concession agreement between government and Anglo-Gold Ashanti Ghana as illegal and also a violation of existing mining laws. According to NACOM, sections of the agreement, which include the legal authority to make fiscal concessions to a holder of a mining lease under the Minerals and Mining Act, does not give the minister powers to waive or reduce fiscal obligations. Dr. Yal Graham is coordinator of the coalition.
The project represents a chance to promote the local content in the mining sector, which the government has been talking about, which the vice president, spoke at length about, which the president talks about, which our minerals and mining policy talks about. But actually, the huge waiver worth $177 million, in addition to the complete absence of any benchmarks for the promotion of local content in the agreement, shows a complete lack of commitment to a local content policy. And given that these are wasting resources,
the coalition is therefore calling for some proposals to measure the viability of the agreement. Richard Elima is Executive Director of the Center for Social Impact Studies.
The community itself has been very dependent on Anglo-Gold Ashanti, and it's by a strange arrangement. Anglo-Gold Ashanti is the only mining company operating in the area, and until 2014 it used to be operating in 5 administrative districts. Now, because of the fact that we have just one multinational mining company operating in that area, almost all the district assemblies tended to depend on the mine. So we didn't have any ideas of generating extra income to support the local economy. So when the company went through its problems in 2014, it affected the Obuasi economy terribly. The local economy took a nosedive, and it affected sales. Hotels had problems and all that. Can we go on an investment drive to get other investors apart from mining to come into the different sectors of the Obuasi economy? Agriculture can be viable, tourism can be viable, agro processing can also be viable. Let's reduce our dependence on Anglo-Gold Ashanti so that in 20 years' time, when the company's life of mine comes to an end, then we can still have Obuasi as we know it today.
Meanwhile, the development and tax concession agreement between government and Anglo-Gold Ashanti aim at reviving the precarious situation at the Obuasi mines. While still in the mining sector, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is pushing for changes to laws covering taxing and controls of mining firms. Now, according to the Vice President, the country is not even getting much from companies it holds interest in. Now, Dr. Bawumia said this at the launch of the IMF Regional Outlook Report in Accra.
Development is not something we only do with external resources. There is urgency in strengthening the domestic tax system through innovative means, and we must do so in ways that do not undermine productive activities or distort private incentives for work. For Ghana, we are taking concrete steps towards formalizing the economy as steps to broaden the tax base of the economy. The national ID system, which thankfully will be rolled out this month, the digital address system, the digitization of land records, and the paperless ports should all help in building a new platform for revenue mobilization. In addition to strengthening conventional revenue handles through taxation, we must develop confidence in our financial sector in order to encourage higher private savings as a source of loanable funds to support the domestic credit and capital market.
The leadership of the Ashanti Region branch of the Ghana LPG Operators Association has re-emphasized over 7,000 jobs will be lost if government's cylinder recirculation model is implemented. At a press conference in Kumasi, it criticized government for coming out with an ill-prepared policy which it says is bound to fail because it cannot address the explosion challenge as is being touted. This is coming after barely a week of a similar press conference here in Accra. Spokesperson for the association is Philip Kambunori.
At the moment, one of the biggest problems we have at the gas stations is that sometimes somebody comes, he wants to buy 50 cedis, 50 Ghana cedis. You give him the gas or her the gas, and he tells us that, oh, it's shaking. Now, This gas will now be filled from distance away. And can you imagine the type of people who will be feeling it? They feel it there, and then you come, you take. You see, you don't know exactly how much they put in there. So customers are actually going to suffer. You see, we give the opportunity to customers to buy any quantity they want. 1 CD, 5 CDs, 10 CDs, 50 CDs, 80 CDs, 300 CDs. But that opportunity will be lost forever.
The standard price.
Now there will be a standard price. Whether you have money or not, that is the standard price. You have to take what is there available for you. So we are saying that customers are going to cry. They are going to miss us. So government shouldn't do what it's trying to do to us, because that would be too much.
In other news tonight, Ghana currently imports over 80 million cedis worth of milk products annually. Local cheese producers in the Volta region say significant amount of the commodity goes bad due to poor state of roads and a lack of appropriate storage and processing facilities. Fozia Tuadam visited the Volta region recently and focused on the local dairy industry.
I joined Memunatu Yakubu in her secluded home located at the Keseve Castle Ranch in the Northern constituency of the Volta region where she plies her trade. Memunatu has been in the wagashi business for over 15 years. The popular delicacy mostly associated with Nordness is a type of cheese derived from cow milk, generally produced by Fulani women. This soft cheese does not melt under high temperature as compared to other imported ones. Here in Keseve, the main occupation for women is processing milk sold to them by headsmen at the ranch. First, she boiled the fresh milk.
So this is making of the wagashi. And what I'm pounding here is called tumpapia. And tumpapia is a plant that is used to solidify the boiling milk to get that soft cheese called wagashi. Now, the tumpapia is mixed with salt to get that solid look. And very soon you're going to see how that turns and how we get to see that soft wagashi.
The pulp is then mixed with the milk and later strained out. The resulting mixture is then drained in a colander and the dense cheese forms as the water drips off. The process does not come cheap. Whoosh. Just like cattle farmers at the ranch, Memunatu struggles to sell her wagashi due to poor roads.
Because the roads are in a bad state, cars hardly come around. So I have to walk long distances to get Okada and beg them to buy the wagashi and sell them in the township. During the week, I produce 7 to 8 pieces of wagashi daily, and on weekends, 40 to 80 pieces. During the rainy season, I produce more wagashi, but they go bad because I find it difficult to even sell them.
Back in the capital city, Accra, Fatima Osman sells wagashi at the Nima market. In the bid to make more sales, Fatima has adopted a marketing strategy.
I
take like 150 pieces of wagashi sometimes. I sell 3 for 10 cedis or 1 for 4 cedis. Because wagashi easily goes bad, I boil the remaining stock for the day and add salt to it with some red plant to preserve it. Those are the red ones. Then I sell it cheaper so that I won't lose at all.
Just like Memunatu, Fatima equally has challenges.
I get some of my wagashi from Kasava in Japan. The problem, since the guys transport the wagashi on motorbikes, some fall in the mud. Even some perish in the vehicle by the time it gets to us.
Statistics from the UN Trade indicate Ghana spends more than $80 million importing milk and milk products annually since 2011. Ironically, tons of milk produced locally are left to go bad. The one district, one factory could make a little impact if sectors like these are left in isolation. Fozia Tuadam, Joy Business.
Great reporting from Foziatu Adam. Turning to other news, Senior Minister Yao Safumafo is making some radical proposals which he believes would help deal with revenue mobilization challenges. Now, these include taxing unused lands in residential areas, increasing property rates, and reviewing free zones laws to check its abuse. The Senior Minister made these proposals at the launch of the IMF Africa Economic Outlook Report.
Everybody is talking about domestic revenue mobilization. Ghana is the fastest urbanizing country in West Africa. What are the implications of urbanizing? It means many more people are moving into urban areas, development of better properties are coming up, high-end houses are being put up, commercial construction is going on. So why don't you look at these areas and structure your taxes to benefit from your urbanization? And urbanization brings speculation in business. So the chances are that if you don't take care, because of the fast urbanization, people will buy plots in undeveloped areas, leave it and jump and make money out of it 10 years later. I see nothing wrong with it. You can if you want to. But then the state is losing, because if somebody had put property on it, property by law in Ghana are taxed, its property rate would have earned something. But because it's empty plot, we are not earning anything. So then you must contribute something.
You're asking for property rates, so we should review the collection mode and everything as well.
Yes, definitely. Because I don't know whether you have any experience, but it's very poor. It's now, as I said, a decentralized function of the local government, and it involves valuation of the property. They don't have the know-how. And under our existing law, only Lands Commission valuation is accepted, and this complicates the matter. So we have to look at the whole gamut of rules related to property rating, simplify it, have spatial data where all properties are captured and accurately captured. In the US, they just capture, and after they've done the analysis, they send you the value of your property. I mean, the technology is available. It's not something we are going to think through. And if you go to Kwame Nkrumah University, people are learning it.
Commissioner General of the GRA, Emmanuel Kofinti, says recent efforts to improve revenue generation will include tax stamp on textiles. According to him, this strategy will also help deal with some issues facing the local textile industry, including counterfeiting and the smuggling of cheap textile prints. He spoke with Joy Business on the sidelines of a ceremony to hand over 15 pickups from the Danish Development Agency to the GRA.
No, it's as usual. I mean, the normal things which the textiles have to go through, that's what we are going through with them. We have to ensure that only certified goods come into the market, and that we do not condone pirated goods and being smuggled, so that we have to work to ensure that people's businesses do not suffer because of misbehavior from the system. Development partners have been assisting us so much. Now that we've moved away from aid and beyond aid, we've moved away from being a third world country at the very low end of it. Once we move to the lower middle income country, we need to be creating more revenue domestically to support our agenda. And so they are helping us in that area. The needless one is what we've just seen. The DFID has been supporting us with the audits of free zones and the warehouses and the vendor warehouses and the rest.
All right, it's a Wednesday. Time to bring you our Joy Business Van episode for today. 80% of what we perceive comes through the sense of sight. Now, this is just how important our eyes are, but how equipped and vibrant is the eye care industry in Ghana? That's our focus today on the Joy Business Van in a lead up to the Joy Business Health and Wellness Trade Show later this month. Ghana's eye care industry is fairly young. However, it is growing. It is believed that there are just about 300 eye professionals in the country. Today, we are two of Ghana's leading eye centers. First, Robert & Sons, which has been operating for about 27 years, providing optical services.
So you just keep looking straight. You see a blinking green light. And as you look at it, open both eyes a little wider. along the line, the machine will release a little air on your eyes, but it won't hurt you. Open both eyes a little wider. Good. But don't blink, just try and open both eyes a little.
Next, the Interstar Eye and Laser Center, providing surgical services.
Do you have the LASIK drips? Give me one of the LASIK drips, please.
This is just one of the few eye surgical centers serving a population of over 28 million. A survey conducted in 2017 showed that about 300,000 people in Ghana are on the verge of blindness. Dr. Yakubu Seidu Adam is the medical director at Interstar.
When we look at the whole country Ghana as a whole, we still have a lot of people who are blind from cataract, which is easily preventable. The leading causes of blindness in this country is either from cataract, it's either from glaucoma, or it's either from diabetic-related complications.
But as Dr. Adam explains, the services his facility offers are not accessible in all parts of the country. What is quite easy to access are optical services, which have also become fashionable. Monique Atta is Sales and Marketing Director at Robert & Sons.
The fashion part is obviously the frames, right, and the things that we wear, like what I'm wearing on my face. So the growing trends in that has been the changes in the type of materials that are used in the production of frames. A long time ago, there were a lot of metal frames that were used. So you see frames like this with the metal.
And the trends are also changing when it comes to surgical treatment. Interstar Eye Clinic, for instance, is investing in new technology to provide quality care.
In trying to give the best to society, so you try to get up-to-date opportunities that is used worldwide. Like if you go to Britain, what people who have similar diseases, how they treat it. If you go to UK, if you go to US, similar diseases, how are they treated? We try to give the same.
This obviously impacts on cost. Quack practitioners are taking advantage of unsuspecting people, and there are many fake products flooding the markets.
The regulation obviously has been also a huge problem because it's such an open market. You find that not everybody is practicing ethically. We talked about how you can go to some markets and in the markets women are helping you fix contacts. That's not supposed to be the case. Contact lenses are a very sensitive product. If not applied properly, can cause a lot of eye defects and diseases to your eye. So that needs to be done by a certified and licensed doctor.
But that is not only what needs to be fixed.
We need more eye surgeons, we need more optometrists, we need more opticians, name it. We need more dispensing technicians. You know, it's not one-on-one. Eye doctor, eye surgeon alone cannot do the work. Optometrists alone cannot do the work. Opticians alone cannot do the work. Nurses, a whole lot of things.
Globally, the eye care industry is worth nearly $5 billion and grew by a healthy 15% from 2008 to 2013. And remember that the Joy Business Health and Wellness Trade Show is coming on later this month from the 24th to the 26th. And that's how we wrap up our show tonight. There's more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. You can read more about the April inflation rate plus other stories making headlines. Of course, if you missed out on any of our bulletins, we've got them there for you to watch. My name is Daryl. We'll be back same time tomorrow.